So my name is Ron Doster, and I'm here with Outside Agents today. And in this session, we're going to take a look at the advanced capability of your new CRM, mainly as it has to do with client emails. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go to my profile. You need to check and make sure you're signed up for the advanced program. So I'm going to my profile, I'm going to my account, and here it shows the 4 different packages that we have. And I'm on the advanced, so it's already purchased. Again, this is provided to you by Outside Agents, so it's nothing for you to actually buy. So if you're on the standard, then you need to click to purchase this because you need to be on the advanced package for any of this to work. Okay, so that's where you'll check that out. All right, so I'm going to go to my trips, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at invoices. Now, these emails that we're going to talk about today, there's 2 parts to them. There is the template that actually has what we're going to say, and then we have what we call a trigger that triggers that template. And so we're going to take a look at both of those. First, we're going to look at how the triggers work. So let me take a look at this booking. It has 2 bookings. Okay. We have a travel guard and we have a fun jet. And so if I click on invoice, then it's going to show me that I have 2 bookings. Here's the package price, and here's the payments that have been received. There's no payments received on either one of these bookings. So I'm going to go to the first booking. I'm going to go to fun jet, and I'm going to actually make a payment. So I'm going to payments, add payment. Jeff, I'm going to say a deposit, a date, 500, there's Visa, and I'm going to save that payment. Okay, and the other booking is for a travel guard, and let's go ahead and pay that one. That was a $200, so I'm going to pay this. And I'm going to payments. I'm going to add a payment. And I'm going to put Jeff. And I'm going to say final payment. A date. $200. And I'm going to save that. So if I go back and look at my invoice now, I see that we've had $200 on the first booking, and that's now at 0. And the second booking is $4,000. I've paid $500, have a total of $3,500. Now this is just the invoice. If I go look at invoice detail, then I see the payments, actual payments on each one instead of just a summary. Okay. Now we're going to look at this template and how we can change this template, but here's where you would trigger it. And so I'm going to say email invoice. I'm going to hit send, and it emailed this invoice to our client. And so let's see. So it's completed. I can pull up and view this. And so the process is each time they would make a payment, I would send another one. And so, you know, I can go in, and each time I'd send one, it would just list them here in the history, and then you could view each one, so you have a complete history of those invoices that went out. Now, I will tell you that here at Outside Agents, we're working on some templates. Those will be available next week. When we go live on 8/1, we'll have a set of really good templates, you know, that you'll be able to start with. So right now we just have some test ones in there, and you know, we are working on the invoices. Okay, so that's trigger number 1. We can trigger an invoice. So let's go to our trip. And the next thing I want to do is I want to look at schedule a traveling email. Now, in order for this to work for me right now, I'm going to have to go in here and change these dates because I want it to go out right now. So I'm going to go to today's date, the 21st, and I'm going to make this one the 21st also because I want us to send them out immediately. I'm going to change this to ready to travel. Now, these trip statuses, you've heard me talk about them before, and we have active and we have booked, and the next one I use is actually the ready to travel. Now, I set it to ready to travel once I've delivered their documents, and so everything in their process is all set and they're all systems go. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to ready to travel. Now I'm going to click here to schedule an email. Now before I do this, we need to take a look at one more thing that I've already done that I want to make sure each one of you understands. So I'm going back to my profile. I'm going to look at this settings tab, okay? And in the settings tab, I have to set my default emails for my client. So I'm going to say authorize email, and I'm going to go ahead and begin. And here, I'm going to pick the email address that I want to be sent out to my clients, okay? Now, it could be a different one than you're using internally or that you've given to outside agents. And so if you have more than one email address or telephone number, this is where you set your client defaults. Let's go back and look and see what I'm talking about. So here in my user, I have a telephone number and email address. And this is set, yellow things here, orange things. This is the system's default. So if us at Outside Agents or the system goes to email you or call you, it's going to use this one. And then the green ones are the ones that you have set up for your client. Okay? So I'm going to go back to settings, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. And I'm going to begin. And I'm going to put my email address. And I'm going to put this, and I'm going to authorize. So you'll need to do that before you can get started. Excuse me. So let's go back to our trip. And let's come in here and take a look at this. And so I'm going here, and I'm going to say schedule traveling email. So I click on this, and it's going to tell me that the trip status will trigger automation emails if the status is on ready to travel. So it's not going to send the email out if you don't have it set ready to travel. And the reason for that is if you forgot to cancel an email, a trip or something, and we don't want sending emails out unless they're really traveling. So that's why once you give them the documents and everything's all systems go, you set it to ready to travel, these emails will go out. Now, how many days prior to the trip start date would you like the email delivered? So how many days before they start traveling? In my case, because I want this to go out right now, I'm going to say 0. And would I like to apply it to all clients in this trip? Okay. I'm going to say yes and hit next. Now here I have to select a template. Okay. And so I have some options. I have some cruise ones and I have a regular one. So I'm going to select this one and I'm going to say set template. Now it tells me that the traveling email will be sent on July 21st if the trip has a status of ready to travel. Okay. And so once we set that up, you can see that it already has been delivered, and we'll take a look at this. I can click on it here and view what it looked like, and we're going to go into more details of this. But what we're looking at now is the trigger. And so let's trigger a welcome back. It's going to work the same way. Either one of these statuses, ready to travel or traveled, will trigger it. And I'm going to go with 0 and apply it to everybody. Say next. And I'm going to get a welcome back, and I'm going to set the template. Okay? And it's ready to go. Now for this other traveler, it says that it cannot be scheduled because she does not have an email address, so she's not going to get anything. And so I'm going to refresh that, and we can see that that was delivered. So if I go to my inbox, then I can see the invoice, that was sent out. I can go back and I can see the traveling email, and then I can go look at the welcome back email. Okay? So those are our triggers and the way the triggers work. Okay? So that's what I want you to understand, at this time. And so only 3 triggers that are available right now. We're going to be adding more in the future, and it's to trigger an invoice, a traveling, or welcome back email. Okay? All right. So the next thing we want to do is we want to look at how would I modify one of these templates. Okay. So on the menu over here on the left at the bottom, you see templates, and I'm going to go to email templates. So this is a list of all the templates, and we can see what they are, and then we can manage our templates. So I'm going to go on into manage templates, and this is where we would actually be able to make changes to them. And so I see this list of templates. Now over here, it says the owner, okay? Now under my templates, this is the templates that I own, okay? I can only change ones that I own. If I want to change one of the others, then I have to make a copy of it, and then I can go in and change that. So let's go look at this invoice. So I'm going to click on this invoice, and again, it's not one of mine. And I want to remind you that next week here at Outside Agents, we're going to be making a lot of templates. And then where it says test template, you'll see my agent Jeannie template and library, and you'll see all the ones that we have. And then you'll be able to use those. You know, hopefully they'll work for you the way they are. If you want to change some wording, then you can. So I'm going to go into this invoice just so we can take a look at it. It pulls the invoice up, and it tells me that I cannot modify this because it's part of the test library, and I could add it to my library. So I'm going to go ahead and click to add to my library, and here it's going to want to give it a template name. So I'm just going to say invoice, and I'm going to use just the word invoice, okay? The subject line, this is what's going to be on the email when you send it out. This is going to be the subject. Share with, you can share it with everyone, and what share with everyone means just people within your company. So that would be you and any of your sub-agents. Okay, so I'm going to share it, and then I'm going to pick the header, and I'm going to tell it to copy the template header. The first time you have to say copy the template header, and I'm going to copy the template footer, okay? And I'm going to apply. And so what this has done is now on my list, if I go to my templates, then I see invoice, and that's one of my templates, and I can modify this, okay? Over here on the far right, you see update. Now what if you click on this update is the metadata, okay? It's not the actual template itself. So if I wanted to change the name of this, you know, I could come in here and say my invoice and apply that, and this is going to change the name. So now I see my invoice, okay? So let's click on this, and we can go in and edit the information. Now, there's not a lot to do in an invoice, and like I said, there's some legal things that we have to put in here, and we're going to be doing that next week. And so I certainly encourage you to use the invoice that Outside Agents provides for you, because there is a few lines that you have to have in there in order to be legal, and you want to make sure that you do that. So we're not going to modify the invoice, and I'm going to encourage you on the invoice to do that, okay, to use the one they provide. So let's go back to the menu, and let's go back to my templates, and let's get us a welcome back, okay? So I don't have a welcome back email, so I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to, here's a welcome back email, okay? So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to say, okay, this is it. I want to add it to my library, and I'm going to just say my welcome back. And then, you know, everyone, the template, you know, I'm going to use the one I already have, and here I'm going to use one I already have, and I'm going to apply. So now we have our welcome back. So your template's made up of 3 sections. We're going to look at the header and the footer, and you can't change these here because they're just showing. You have to go to the header or the footer to change those. But the body here, this image and the copy, we can change, okay? So let's say I want to change the image. So I'm going to click here on the image. Now, I'm going to show you a couple things. In a minute, we're going to build one from scratch, and it'll make a little bit more sense. So there's two parts. There's the space, and the space is controlled by these on the side. And then we have what we call the widget. This is an image widget, and that's controlled by the ones on the top. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to the test library and see I have two images. All right. If I go to my library, my images, I have a couple more that I've added. And so I'm going to use this one. I'm going to select this image. It says welcome back. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. So what I've done so far is just change the image. Now, the next thing here, it says dear, and it says client name. Okay. And of course, you know, as I should have a comma there. And these images that we're going to make, these templates we're going to make next week, you know, we're going to get them a little bit better. These are just test things. So we're going to be working on this wording. So where it says dear client name, what does that mean, client name? Now up here we have placeholders. And so I can insert a placeholder, and if I go to client, I have the client's first name, last name, address, email address, telephone number. And here I just have the client's first name. So what this means is when it actually runs, it's going to insert the client's first name there. Okay? And so these are called placeholders. And so then I have the wording here, and you could come in here and you could change any of this wording. Okay? And down here we have you know, agent company name is a full service travel agency. So this is going to put your company name in there. Now the reason that you want to use placeholders instead of writing your agency name there is because, you know, if you share it, if it's shared, and then what it's going to do is it's going to bring in the right client's name, the right agent name, the right agency name. And so that's the reason that we use the placeholders. Okay. Down here at the bottom, I say best regards, and let's put a space there. And then I have agent first name, space, agent last name. Okay. So you could change any of this wording, and then you can save this, and everything's all good. Now, you can come over here and you can send a test. Okay. And I'm going to send this test. Now we do have a couple known issues and when we send these tests, and so I've sent a test email, and so what happens is when the test goes out, it takes and puts some default names in here, and the logo, and I think it's telephone number, and maybe something else is missing. We're working on that, and that should be fixed you know, before you guys go live. But when I pull this up and take a look here, you see it says Island Travel. It doesn't have my logo. It doesn't have my telephone number, but we'll be getting that fixed. Okay. And so it does put everything else, and then it's missing your telephone number and stuff down here. But we're going to actually send it out so that you can see what this looks like. I'm going to select all, and I'm going to delete these. Okay. So we've built our template. Now we can go and we can send this template out. Okay. And so I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go to a trip, and I think yes, this one's not been sent. So this is for Donna. Let me find another agent. This is one of mine. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Okay, so now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to schedule the, oh no, that was a welcome back, wasn't it? I'm going to schedule welcome back. I'm going to put 0, say yes, and then I'm going to select my welcome back and set the template, and then it should go. Okay, so we'll go check our inbox, and we have our welcome back, and see we have our changes. Okay. All right, so one more thing I want to show you. So let's delete this one. So I want to go up here to my menu, and let's say that I have an image here that I've made and I want to put this in. Now, emails come out 600 pixels wide, so your picture should be at least 600, okay, because you know you don't want it to stretch the image. And so when I'm saving these things, so I'm going to go here to my images, and I'm going to see my images. I'm going to look at the general. There's different categories. The categories are just the folders, okay? So all of the automation is inside of this folder. And you say, what about these others, Ron? Well, we're going to get to those others later. Right now, these are the only ones. And so let's say I have a picture that I want to include. And let's say instead of welcome back, I like welcome home. And so I'm going to take this welcome home, and I'm going to take this image, and I'm just going to drag that right there. And so now I have the same thing, but it just says welcome home. And so that's how you add your images. And then you can click on this image and you can set it to whether you want to share that or not. So I'm going to go ahead and share it. And that means anyone else, any of my sub-agents would be able to use these images. We're going to have a lot of these images available for you at the top level. So when you go to, a while ago we went to the test gallery, you know, it'll say the My Agent Genie gallery, and those will all be there. Okay. All right. So let's go back to our templates. And what I want to do now is I just want to build a template from scratch. Okay. Before I do that, I'm going to go in here to my headers and see I'd made 2 copies. So I'm going to look at one of these, and I'm going to say here, I'm just going to call this Island Header. And I'm going to apply it. And so now I have this island header. And this is the header. Now I've been asked questions about putting your website address here. And currently we're not exposing the website here, you know, for the agent or the company. And so we'll get that exposed. We'll get to where you'll be able to do that. Now, and so this is your header. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my footer. I'm going to look at my footer, and I'm going to change this one. And also I'm going to call this Island Footer and save that. Okay, all right, so I've got that. So now I'm going to go back to my templates, and I'm going to actually build a template from scratch to show you how that works. Okay, so I'm going to go add template, and I have to give the template a name. Okay, and I'm going to say, you know, my welcome back, and I want it to say, I want this to be for cruise. Okay, and here I'm going to say welcome home. The template type is going to be welcome back. Now you see a lot of other types in here, and this template builder is going to be used for a lot of things, and right now none of this is going to do anything for you, so it has to be an invoice, traveling, and welcome back. Again, I encourage you not to build invoices, to use the ones Outside Agents provide you, but here we're building a welcome back. Okay, and I'm going to share this with everyone, and then I'm going to pick Island Header, and I'm going to pick Island Footer, and then I'm going to make this active, and I'm going to apply it. Okay, so here I have my welcome back cruise, and I can open this and I can start modifying it. Now I have my header at the top, my footer at the bottom, and here is where I'm going to build my email. Okay, and so I'm going to build it just like I had those others. Now to start, it says drag and drop a grid container to begin. So this is my grid containers, and I have a full, which means it's going to go all the way across the screen. I have two columns with different sizes, 3 and 4. So I'm going to take this full, and I'm just going to drag it over here. Okay, so now I have this empty space that goes all the way across. Okay, and so the ones over at the side here, they have to do with this space. So if I click delete and I say yes, it deleted that space. And so I'm going to drag it over there again. And I just want you to understand that these have to do with that space. Now, in order to put something in this empty space, I have to go select a widget. And so here's the widgets, and these are the 3 main ones we're going to use. I'm going to drag an image over there. Okay, and so I have that image. Now I need to insert an image. So this is where we edit the image widget. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go select my image. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to pick this welcome home. And so here I have the welcome home, and that is my image. Now as I'm building things, I like to kind of save as I go, because I get distracted and I may leave, and I may lose session on my computer or something, and I don't want to lose what I'm working on. Okay, so now I want to put something below this image. So I need to go back to my grid, and I need to get some more space. So I'm going to add another space. Now you see that blue line? If I put the blue line at the top, it's going to add it at the top. If I put it at the bottom, it's going to add it at the bottom. So I'm going to add it there, and so now I have another empty space. So I need to put a widget in this space. So I'm going to go to widget, and I'm going to add a title. Now the difference in a title and a text is just the size. Okay, so I've got title, and here I'm going to say dear space, and then I want to put a placeholder, and I'm going to put the client's first name, and then I'm going to put a comma. Okay, and so that's all I want to put on that line. So to get below this space now, you could do a couple things. You could drag another text underneath here, but to go to the next one, I like to go add another space and keep these things separate. Okay, so now I have another empty space, and I'm going to put a widget, and I'm going to put text. Okay, and I'm going to put the text inside here, and so I'm going to say here is where you would type what you would like to say. Now what I do is go over to Word, and I get it all typed up, and I come over here and cut and paste it in there, because you want that to be spell checked and get that exactly the way you want it. Or if you just want to modify some of the wording, that's where you would do that. Okay, then I'm going to hit space, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to say whatever kind of closing you want to say. I'm going to say best regards, a comma, okay, and then I'm going to hit a space, and then I want to put my name. So I'm going to placeholder, and I'm going to put the agent's first name, space, agent last name. Okay, and so I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to come in here, and I can preview it. It's going to show me what it looks like. I can go send an email to it, and or I could go and actually use it. But what we've done here is we've made a template from scratch, and so I wanted you to see all the elements and how they work. So once again, when you come in and we go to templates, next week you're going to be seeing a lot of templates. These are going to change, and we're going to be seeing templates that have been made and approved by Outside Agents, and I'm going to encourage you to start with those. Use those where you can. If you want to modify something, then you'll take and modify that. I've been asked questions about will the template stay past 8.1. The answer to that's yes. A lot of the other templates are going to be removed, and you're going to see the templates from Outside Agents. But if you've made a template, then yes, it'll stay. And again, I encourage you to only use the invoice supplied by Outside Agents, because there's some legal things that must be done to cover you. Okay? Well, that pretty much sums up, what I wanted to show you. And let's go ahead, Marty, and open up for some questions.
On the payment invoice, will the new invoices have a place for final payment date?
I've been asked for that, and eventually, yes. Okay, it will not on 8.1, and but that is something that we're working on. Also, a thing that's being worked on where it says booking here, this is going to say the wholesaler's name. Okay, so that's a couple things. Right now, final payment date is not brought in, but that is one of the things that we're working on. Yes.
Why does it say booking on the invoice and not insurance or what they paid for? Insurance, cruise, trip, and so on.
Well, that's what I just said. That's just how this client emails is brand new for us. Yes, rest of the program's been out there for a couple years. This is brand new. This is a first stab at it, and it'll be improved on in the next months to come.
As a sub-agent, can we upload the company logo we work for?
Well, you won't have to, because what happens is when you go here, when I go to my company and I look at Island Travel, this logo is going to be there. So if one of my sub-agents, if Donna, if she logs in, she can't change the company stuff, but if she looks, her logo is going to be the same as mine. So an agent, you can upload, if you're the administrator, you can upload the company logo here, and the sub-agent would get the same one. So you don't have to put your logo on the template. The templates, what they do is when you open one up, it says agent company logo or name. What that means is if the company has a logo, it's going to put it. If not, it's going to put the name. Okay? Any more questions?
With a traveling template, can we add attachments? Send a suggested packing list that I like to include?
You can't at this time.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I did. Yes. Add an attachment. So at this time, no. And so if you have a suggested packing list, then I would say make that part of the template. But what I want you to do is hold off on doing a lot of that, because, in early August, the next few weeks after you go live, we're going to be introducing something called the portal, and that's the client portal. And that's where a client is going to be able to have a portal, and it's going to have all the information about their trip. So if you come in here to a trip and I take a look at this trip and I go to documents and I upload a suggested packing document, then they're going to see that. Okay? And so you're going to be able to share a lot of stuff. So some of the things you've been emailing them, you'll just upload as documents, and then it's going to be right there in the portal. We'll get into portal later, but in answering that question, I did want to let you know that that's coming. Okay. Next question, Lori.
Are we only able to send templates, or can we type a letter in the system?
You can only send templates using the template triggers.
Are they only able to send templates, or can they type a letter within the system?
No, they can only send templates. They can't type. To type a letter, it would be inside of the template, and it would go out to all. If you want to just type a letter to somebody, you would do that in your email. Okay, next one.
Okay, that's all we have.
Okay, guys, if that's all the questions, I definitely appreciate you guys taking time
I
out.
think we're good.
Okay. I appreciate you guys taking time to listen to what we have to say here in the webinar, and we'll get these questions and answers out there for you. And also, it's been recorded so you can take a look at it later. So again, thank you for your time this afternoon, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.